to start virtually wholesaling real estate in 2022 step by step. What is up, guys? Zach Ginn here, and in today's video, I'm going to share with you the entire virtual wholesaling process step by step today. So if you're a brand new beginner today, this is the perfect video for you. You might be asking yourself, who am I? What type of thing can I talk about? What do I know about wholesaling real estate? Well, my name is Zach Ginn. I'm 22 years old. For the past 5 years, I've wholesaled over 1,000 real estate wholesaling deals, and about half of them have been from virtual wholesaling. And I am right now going to share exactly how you can do the same exact thing in your business, how to get your first virtual wholesaling deal step by step. So before we get into it, do me a big favor and smash that like button and subscribe it. Let's break it down. So what is wholesaling real estate and what is virtual wholesaling real estate? So wholesaling real estate, again, is basically the art of finding ugly looking houses and then putting that property under contract with that seller and then going to a rich landlord or house flipper, basically selling that piece of paper, that contract, for an assignment fee. Maybe it's $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, but it's an assignment fee. Regular wholesaling real estate, it's we go in person and we get the property under contract. We go in person, do the title company, all that stuff. Virtual wholesaling is the same exact process, except you do it from your computer. All you need is an internet connection and your phone, and you're pretty much basically good to go. So that process is a little different, right? Like, I don't want to get too confusing with you starting out as a beginner's video today, but honestly, there's so many e-signing services. This is all legal. So before we kind of break it down, if you want to know, is virtual wholesaling legal? And you might think wholesaling is legal. Virtual wholesaling and wholesaling real estate is legal in most states. In every single state in the United States, you can at minimum do a real estate wholesaling deal this year. There are states that are a little different with it, but really, more or less, if you're watching this and you live outside of Illinois, you can wholesale real estate more or less. Now, I'm not a lawyer, CPA, financial advisor, but you're pretty much good to go. So let's kind of break down everything you need to know. So in virtual wholesaling real estate starting out, I think the first thing, if you really want to get the ball rolling, is knowing what virtual market to be going after. I think the biggest issue so many beginner wholesalers have is they honestly think that when they're starting out, they have to figure out every virtual wholesaling market. They got to know every little piece of the business, and they got to know every single market, and they got to do 50 virtual wholesaling markets, where the honest truth is, if you just choose one or two virtual wholesaling markets, you're going to be really successful. You're going to do very, very well. And that's honestly all you need to know. Let me give you the secret the gurus don't want to tell you about picking the right virtual wholesaling market. The number one reason why you're not being successful is because you have too many virtual markets or you're in the wrong virtual market starting out as a beginner in virtual wholesaling in 2022. If you follow this rule, you will be fine, and you're actually going to be in a really good virtual wholesaling market. If your ARV is $250,000 or less, the average price, so the median home price is under $250,000, and if the county that is in that virtual market is over 100,000 people, you're in a good virtual wholesaling market. Now, this is hard to say because there's probably, I would say, 100 to 150 markets like this. So I'm not going to go tell you which one, because if I say it in this video, then thousands of people are going to flock to that market. And then a good market can be quote unquote saturated. I want you to look at populations with over 100,000 on a county, and then look at the average home price. Just put, Chattanooga County median home price or something like that, and then just figure what it is. And then that's a really good virtual wholesaling market. Now, the next part about the marketing phase here is figuring out a list, finding a list of people that potentially could want to sell their property for cash. There's a ton of these type of lists out here you can get absolutely for free. There's ones you can pay for. There's all this stuff. And remember, guys, there's probably, I'm thinking right now, if I can just talk to you really in virtual wholesaling, I would say there's probably 40 to 50 lists you can pull. And that seems very stressful. And I'm just telling you the absolute truth. I'm not here to sell you a course. There's no little sales gimmick. There's no link to go buy my special course information. It's all for free. So just understanding, I'm not here to sell you anything. The truth is there's 40, 50 lists, and it's really confusing. What I'm telling most people starting out when you have no money in virtual wholesaling is just go after a free list. These are called government lists. These are lists you get from the government absolutely for free starting out when you got no money. These are code violations, probates, water shutoffs. You get tax liens. There's so many of these type of lists. You get arrest record lists. There's so many of them. Pre-foreclosures is another really good one. If you really want to pull this, you go to the code enforcement department, you go to the public records, all this stuff. And I know it sounds very confusing the way I'm saying it. These are lists you can get people tall grass, people that passed away, they want to get a new property, right? There's just so many great lists. If you go to freewholesaling.com, that's my free real estate wholesaling course where I show you step by step actually how to pull it. I don't have 5 hours today to go pull it, but in that video I have the modules, everything like that. So if I'm starting with the list right now today, I'm probably going to, let's focus on 3. So if you're watching this video, let's focus on 3 really big lists to be pulling. So the number one list I would probably be pulling right now is the code violations. So this is a list from your local code enforcement of properties with either tall grass, structural damage, there might be mold or mildew on these properties, and the neighborhood services or the code department goes after these properties, puts fines, they levy a bunch of like ordinances and then fines, and then they might charge them like 30, 20 bucks a day. And there's a ton of motivation on these lists. I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars as a teenager from just the code violation list. So let's put that priority number one. In virtual wholesaling, you actually pull this list, get an email to actually get it really simple. So that's number one. Number two, I would tell you right now is I would honestly, like starting out, I really truly believe probates are probably going to be the best one. Like pound for pound, I would try to pull the probates, go from the public records, go to the probate court and pull all the people that unfortunately passed away, contact the heirs and see if they want to sell the property. Amazing list. And then the last one, like if you really want to throw in like a wild card, right? Like this is it's a very wild card type list, but it's very good. I would try out the Zillow for sale by owners. These are people that are listing their property for sale by owner on Zillow. And if you cold call them, you could probably get a $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 deal. I cold call live on this channel every single Tuesday, and I get a ton of deals doing it. Like guys, I got a $45,000 price reduction last week. Just cold calling the Zillow for sale by owner. And there's so many out there in your virtual market. It's a really good way to just build your confidence with the cold calling, and it works really, really well. Now, the marketing channel, like how are we going to market to these sellers? Like what's the best way to be doing this? I would say starting out, you might not be a fan when I say this, but this is the honest truth. I truly believe cold calling is probably going to be the best way to get a real estate wholesaling deal in virtual wholesaling this year, starting out with no money. If you have some money, we can do SMS text blasting, direct mail, heck, like if you really want to like pay for a list and pay for a marketing channel. But I feel like cold calling this list is going to be the best. You might be asking, if I have no money, how do I cold call, right? I would probably get someone's phone number. If you get like a motivated list, I would probably go to like truepeoplesearch.com and get their phone number absolutely for free. Truepeoplesearch.com. If you want to pay for a list and pay for skip tracing, you can use zachdata.com. You can use listrei.com. These are definitely websites that I think are really good for pulling lists and actually getting it. These are lists that I personally use in my business. You never have to do it, but if you have to pay for something and have to pay for skip tracing, that's definitely one I can do. Now, we're going to go into the acquisitions part. So in virtual wholesaling, you can't meet someone in person and get a contract signed, just talk and look at the house, right? What I do recommend is you get their phone number, call them up and see if they want to sell their property, kind of like the marketing channel, right? And if they want to sell their property, have a conversation with them and see if they're open to an offer on their property. What I could tell you as a beginner, a lot of people really think they have to know a lot about the house. If you focus more on the person and their motivation for selling, and you lowball the ways that I teach, I like the good cop, bad cop. I like the $1 approach, the volley, just getting the price out of the seller. Hey, Zach, I have to sell my house for $100,000. Well, I'm kind of closer to 65, or my partner's closer to 60. And they're like, no, I can't do that. Can we meet in the middle? Meet in the middle at 80. The problem is if you're over the phone and you get a price already, like what do? You stay on the phone and you send them a contract to go buy the house. You can do this with an e-signing service. People use DocuSign. I use Dotloop. There's a ton of e-signing services in virtual wholesaling real estate to use. There's a million of them. What I could tell you is just stay on the phone, get their email and email them the contract, have them click to sign. It's all legal. Have them sign that contract, and then boom, you get a property under contract. I would probably go to a title company next. Now, if you go to freewholesaling.com, that's how I teach you exactly how to find a wholesaling-friendly virtual wholesaling title company. Really, really good list to be going after of virtual wholesaling title companies. If you watch freewholesaling.com, you can compile a list of all the virtual wholesaling title companies, let's say in Austin, Texas, or something like that, if you're going after that type of list. And they can compile a list, call the title companies, find one that's perfect for virtual wholesaling real estate, and boom, I would send that contract to the title company, leave $100 down payment. It makes it a lot easier. You don't have to, but you can. And then the last part is just selling the deal to a cash buyer. I recommend with a cash buyer, this is actually the easiest part in virtual wholesaling. If you cold call the for rents on Zillow, think, hey, if someone's going to buy a property cash, what's the biggest pool of cash buyers? The people that are buying them and renting them, right? Because cash buyers are a little more savvy. They're not as dramatic as like a house flipper for a cash buyer. And there's pretty much a good amount of them in every market. No matter how small your market is, there's usually always a rental there, a landlord there, and they love renting things out. So what I'd tell you is go to Zillow, cold call the for rents, and then see if they're open to assigning a contract for them to actually buy it. They could, they could not. Then I would do is go to real estate investing groups on Facebook. Let's say you're in the Tennessee real estate investing group. Try to find some cash buyers there that want to buy the property cash. I do have ad copy to post on these Facebook groups to find cash buyers. And no, there's no payment. It's all for free. Just go to freewholesaling.com. You can post in there. You can find people saying they're a cash buyer in Facebook groups. Actually, just DM them in Facebook and actually go after them and go in there. Instagram doesn't work too well. I really found Facebook is the best source out here to go find them, and you'll be successful. Then from there, if they want to buy the property, all you really got to do is just go out here and have them walk through the house. You can pay someone to actually show the property for you. You can also pay someone if like you don't know the condition of the house too well. For like $50, go to a Facebook for Jobs room posting and just have them take pictures with like their phone of the property, send them back to you, and then you can negotiate more. You can also pay someone $50 just to show a person through the property that you trust. Heck, you can even pay a realtor if you really wanted to. You could show them through the property, have the cash buyer walk through. If they like it, send them the assignment of contract, which is basically us selling the contract. And then boom, you just virtually wholesaled a deal. And they send that to the title company. So if you lock the property up for $100,000, cash buyer agrees to buy it for $125,000. Guess what? At closing, that $125,000 cash price that they agree to buy it for, they give that $125,000 to the title company. Title company gives that $100,000 that you agree to the seller, and then that $25,000 gets in a nice check for you guys. Now, that is the whole virtual wholesaling process. That's how you do it step by step. It's actually very, very simple to do. I know I didn't get into a 5-hour conversation about it, but I really want to give you a beginner's perspective on the virtual wholesaling process, starting out as a beginner in 2022. The truth is, virtual wholesaling is as complicated as you want it to be. You can make it really complicated. You can make it really simple. I recommend that you go to freewholesaling.com, my free wholesaling course, and go through the modules and learn the nitty-gritty and nuances on the entire virtual wholesaling process. Heck, I probably have 2, 3, 4, 5 hours of just live closing conversations with virtual wholesaling sellers and me closing sellers, so you can really understand and really grasp the concepts and the information about closing sellers. Heck, I have hundreds of hours of me cold calling in that course, if you really want to watch it, of how to actually cold call the right way, the cash buyers, the dispositions, the entire process, so you know virtual wholesaling. I recommend you go there. Please smash the like button and subscribe if you got any value from this video, and you should start taking action today. Start pulling a list, start finding a market, and I'm telling you, you can do a virtual wholesaling deal right now this month. So I really appreciate it, guys. I hope you have a blessed one. Check out freewholesaling.com, and we'll see you soon. This is Zach Ginn signing out. Have a blessed one.